Meeple Talk! Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to Meeple Talk. So, we are talking about Castles of Mad King Ludwig, or Ludwig, I guess you could say, again. But this time it's about the expansion.
Yes, the expansion is called Secrets. And it comes in this box. Ooh. Look,
That's
it's not a box. So... this is actually comes shrink wrapped. It doesn't come in a box at all. You get the rules and you get all of these punch outs and all of the pieces are in the punch outs and that's it. So it's kind of nice that they did that and all of it fits in the original box.
So what you might remember from the previous video that we did reviewing the original game is that Castles of Mad King Ludwig is all about buying rooms, creating a market, and also configuring your little castle space with the different types of rooms. What the new expansion includes, you've got 30 new room tiles that you will sub out for some of the other ones in the main game. They have swan tokens on them, which we'll get into in just a second. They also have a new moat playing tiles, much larger and longer. 4 new king's favors, and also swans and secret passageways.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'll explain the different components. First of all, it's important to know that these 4 different components can be combined in any combination. None of them rely on the others. So if you like some of them and there's one that you don't like, you don't have to play with it.
Pick and choose.
So that's really nice. So first I'll talk about the moats. This is the biggest and most obvious change to the game. First of all, if you're playing with the moats, which I recommend if you're getting this expansion, try it out. It's great. So instead of using the usual foyer to start with, you actually start with this first piece of the moat. And it's basically a foyer having 3 entrances, but it also has on the other side an entranceway going out of the castle. And the way that works is you build regular rooms just like you would in the basic game, building into your castle. But on the outside, you can only build outside rooms. And the way you use the moat is you can purchase them just like you normally do regular rooms. And each time you purchase an additional wall, whenever you build something inside your castle, you get an additional point. So if your moat is, all of your moat pieces are built and you have an enclosed castle, you're going to score 3 points for every new room that goes in there. So that's kind of neat. The disadvantage is then you have to build within that confined space.
And there's also not enough moat pieces for everybody, too. So as we can see, we've all bought up the moat pieces, but on myself, I don't have enough to complete one. But at the same time, I have more freedom to kind of sprawl out if I needed to. So there's a bit of a trade-off there.
Yes.
But I like this multiplier effect, so to speak, on that one. And then, the multipliers. So, not the multipliers, the King's Favor. So there's 4 new ones. So this one has a large image of a swan. In the new tiles, you'll have these swan icons on them, which allow you to gain swan tokens. Some rooms have 1 or 2 on them. So this King Favor at the end of the game, whoever has the most number of swans will be able to win this particular one. This is another swan token. This actually has to refer to the number of rooms built within your castle that do not have any swan icons on them. This one, similarly colored to the moat, as you can see, this is the person who has the most moat pieces in their castle. And this final one, this has to do with courtyards. It might not be apparent, especially with the black square in the middle, what exactly that's supposed to be symbolizing, but what that relates to is actually in your castle, if you can build it, any enclosed spaces, and you have to think of it as the negative space, not the rooms, but the negative space around them, any enclosed areas that have an entranceway towards it. So for example, if you have build no rooms, all you have is just moat, well, that's your first courtyard because your Barbican has an entranceway towards it. As you build your rooms, you might create these other extra pockets, and those will add towards your favor total in the end. Yeah.
So then we move on to the swans, and as she mentioned, the swans are on the new room pieces. There will be a little symbol of 1 or 2 swans, and when you purchase those rooms, you'll get 1 or 2 swans randomly, and those swans are basically victory points. There's a set collection option where the more unique sets of swans you get, the more points you get. For example, if you have 4 unique swans, you get 10 points instead of just 4 for those.
And what they mean by unique swans just has to do with the color. There's 5 different colors.
Yes.
The more variety, the better.
Yeah, so the maximum unique set you can have is 5 swans. And swans can also be exchanged for money, 1 for 1, using the set collection numbers. And so the swans add an additional way to get victory points. And then finally, there's the secret passages. And the way the secret passages work is you have 3 passages that everybody gets 3 at the beginning of the game. And you can essentially add an additional passage. So if you can't fit in a room, for example, you can connect this to an entrance and connect another room to it, and that gives you an additional option, which is nice when you have, for example, a moat and you're trying to squeeze everything in. These pieces help you to squeeze them in. Also, any adjacent room scores double. And thirdly, if you are trying to set up an activity room, as you may know, if it's adjacent to anything, you get negative points. This allows you to avoid that because it's a secret passage, and it
kind of negates. You can join rooms that otherwise wouldn't be joined, whether it's by distance or because it's a sound muffling effect. Activity rooms can now be next to other types of rooms that it otherwise wouldn't be connected to. So it negates the minus points penalty that happens as because of that.
Yeah. So what do you think about it?
What is your opinion? Well, the reason why I like it is that. Well, for a variety of reasons. I like the pick and choose which combination or which expansion components you want to use, whether you want to use all or some. It's a very house rulesy kind of customizable game. The other thing I like about it is the artwork. It's weird. I liked the artwork of the original game, but somehow the color choice of the moat and everything else, it creates an added depth to it that I didn't anticipate before when we first got it, but all of a sudden it looks more rich and full when we look at it now. However, some games we've reviewed before, the expansions have been so not necessarily only good or enriching of the first game, but some expansions, once you connect them to the original game, they change the game so much in the sense that you can't envision going back to the original game. I don't have that with this. I still enjoy playing the original game. So whatever you like to choose, it all seems to work with and without. Yeah.
So my feeling is I really love the moats. I think the moats add so much in terms not only visually, but it's more of a challenge to try to fit something inside, and they add in the passageways in order to allow you to even have more options in order to fit them in there. And we played with all of the expansions together, and the game isn't any longer because whatever you add, you're substituting something that's already in the original game, which is also cool. Also for the moat pieces, whenever you play a moat piece, you take one of the room cards off, and that again causes the game not to be any longer. So it's exactly the same length. You've got all of these other options, and I think it really adds a lot to the game. Personally, if I was going to play the game, I would always play with the expansions, all of the expansions, because I think they all work well. I can't really think of any negatives. The only negative I can think of is with the moats. Some people might not like the moats. Maybe they played the original game. It's really cool to be able to go wherever you want with your castle, and now you're really confined. I personally like the challenge of building inside a moat, and also there's strategies where you can get, 3 sides of the castle and still build out in one direction and get most of the bonus up. So I think it really works really well, and it's a really good expansion for this game. If you like the base game, you're definitely going to like this expansion. And if there's something you don't like, maybe you don't like the moats, but you like everything else, you can use the other 3 or 4 components, including the King's Favors.
Yeah.
And I think it's great.
And I think the only, when you talk about what are really the differences in the gameplay versus new versus old, there's a couple things that did stick out to me. With the moat building, we found that before in the original game, we played a lot more and grabbed more of the hallways and stairs. That didn't really happen as much. You can, but it didn't seem to happen as much. Also, I've tried, also in one of our gameplays, seeing how far I could get if I did not build any moats and still tried to go with the original room layouts solely, I found it wasn't as highly point scoring. You do get a lot more points when you have the moats because this multiplier effect really takes hold. And I guess lastly, it also changes the way the market works too, because you always have the option to build a moat instead of buying what was originally here. There wasn't as much buying of the original rooms too. So now you've got, when we talked about the market or the economy of the building phase, the builder phase, there's more choice between the fixed price items, stairs and moats, versus the variable price items of the actual rooms themselves.
Yeah. So I think it's a great game. I highly recommend it. If you have the original game and you like the original game, definitely go out and get this one.
Yeah, and
You'll
I
like
would
it.
agree too. Yeah, whether you use it, you don't, it's solid. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.